We're so glad that you're all here. And it looks like the weather's going to cooperate for us. We've had this beautiful week. It was 80 degrees yesterday, and then the forecast for today was rain. Wouldn't you know it? But it looks like the rain's going to stay away, and you're going to have some decent weather for today. I'm Liz Bergeron. I'm the Executive Director of Pacific Crest Trail Association, and it's really a pleasure to be here with all of you who care so much about the Pacific Crest Trail. We have several speakers lined up for today, and we will have time at the end for questions. So please keep in mind that we want to hear from all of you today, and if you have any questions, we'll have time at the end of this presentation, as well as we'll have time after this presentation next door at our open house. So 2010 was an amazing year for the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail, and none of it would have been possible without your support. It really takes the kind of support that we have from all of you in this room, and we're so glad that you're here today to help us celebrate our accomplishments, and we're also so glad that you're here today so that we can thank you in person for the support of this important project. So for the first time, this annual meeting presentation will be available online. We are videotaping this presentation, and we will get it up on our website in the next week. And I'd like to say thank you to an organization that is now a neighbor of ours in the building next door, and that is Sacramento Youth Empowerment Services, also known as SAC-YES. So thanks you guys for being here today and providing the videotaping. That's really great. So we're really proud of our accomplishments in 2010, and there are many reasons for our success, and the list of accomplishments is huge. So today we've picked out a few highlights from 2010, and we're going to share that with you. So first I want to talk about one of my accomplishments in 2010. And that is that I got to hike about 150 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail. And what I found in hiking the Pacific Crest Trail is that people always want to give me trail names. And there's been a few trail names that I've really liked, and then there's been others that I don't want to mention. But in this particular picture, I was given a trail name. This was this past summer, and we were in the High Sierra, and I was the one to open and close all of the stock gates. So I was hiking with Gotta Go, also known as Linda Jeffers, and she decided at this particular moment that my trail name should be Gatekeeper. It was a great hike, and I really enjoyed being out on the trail. So today we're going to talk about our accomplishments and in some cases we're going to point out how they relate to our strategic plan. So this slide shows you, for those of you who are interested in learning more about our strategic plan, it is available through a link on our homepage. And our strategic plan it's a 4-year plan, something that we use to guide our work. And we do report on our progress on a regular basis, quarterly, at our Board of Directors meetings. And those progress reports are included in the version that you'll find online. So here's how you can find more information on our strategic plan. So our success is due to everybody who cares enough to be involved, and it takes a very large community, including the PCTA staff members. So I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to acknowledge the PCTA staff members who are here today and ask all of you to stand up. And for the benefit of our online viewers, I have included a list of the PCTA staff who are here today on this slide. But I'd also like to say thank you to the PCTA staff who are not here, and they are listed on this slide. I know many of you may be thinking, wow, this list sure has grown, and it has. And it really is due to, again, it's due to your support. It's due to the support of our government partners. And for 2010 and 2011, it's also due to funding through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. This was a 2-year project, and you're going to hear more about it later because it definitely is one of our highlights. The objectives were to create jobs, to hire youth, and to maintain the PCT. And so we did actually add 7 staff members as a result of this funding. They're 2-year positions. The bottom line is that we were able to accomplish a heck of a lot more than we would have otherwise on the Pacific Crest Trail. And we were able to do that by managing more volunteers than ever before and managing more core crew programs than ever before. So the staff was important to helping make that happen, but so was this large community of PCT supporters. And that includes you, our members, our donors, our federal partners, our families, our friends, our board members, all of our volunteers. So again, thank you. It's fantastic. You're going to hear a lot in the next 45 minutes about what happened on the trail this year. And I hope all of you have the opportunity to get out on the trail and enjoy the hard work that's taken place. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to our board chair. But before I relinquish this microphone to Dave Hanna, I need to say that the PCT and the PCTA are so fortunate, and I have been I will be forever grateful to have had the opportunity to work with Dave in this leadership position. Dave has served as our board chair for 3 years, and I can tell you when he started 3 years ago, our load was heavy. But in that time, we've traveled far, and he has helped lighten our load significantly. And Dave, I really appreciate what you have done for this organization and for the trail over the last 3 years.
Actually, this is my favorite slide. You know, I usually want to save those to the end, but I don't think it's the one for the reason you think. You see, I have spent 30 years as a banker, but this is the first time my true personality has been recognized. You know, I would have been satisfied with the conditional can be outgoing as required. Sometimes outgoing, but the definitive outgoing is really quite nice. So I just want you to all think of me as an always outgoing chairman. Liz mentioned this is the annual meeting of the PCTA, and this meeting is for you, the members. This is the opportunity that we get to tell our story, both the board and management. And if you take anything away this year, I hope it's that we had a very, very successful 2010 in an era where you read about deficits and cutbacks. I think what you'll hear today is we had a surplus and we're growing. So I think all of you should be extremely pleased with the story you're going to hear today. We had by almost any measure, a successful year financially and a successful year operationally. I'm going to go through some of the highlights as I see them. Other people may have different weightings, but these are the ones I like to talk about. In 2008, we had the idea that we were going to take it upon ourselves to protect a section of the trail. We had been dependent upon public money that had not arrived year after year after year. So we said, we can do this. And we set ourselves to raise $300,000 to protect a mile of the trail in southern Oregon. And we were successful. We raised the money. The project took about twice as long, and it was about 3 times as complicated as we had thought from the beginning. Conservation easements tend to be, as opposed to outright fee simple purchases. But last summer, this transaction actually closed, and we protected forever 1 mile of the PCT. And I'm very pleased because this property actually sold a few months after we closed the easement. The property was sold, and one could speculate that without our purchase of the conservation easement, there may have been some additional development on this section of the trail. Liz has already talked about something called the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. That title can only come from Congress, and indeed that's what it was. We all know it as stimulus money, and we have just a fabulous working relationship. And I've been here 7 years, and I've seen it when it wasn't so fabulous, with the United States Forest Service. And they were the recipient of some of this stimulus money, and in turn they passed it on to the Pacific Crest Trail Association for management. Now, any of you who have run a business or been involved in a business, when you double your funding in 1 year, a lot of bad things can happen. And I'm pleased to say, and Mike Dawson will tell you more about it later, that we managed this doubling of our funding with very little difficulty, and it was a very effective use of funds from the federal government. A couple of metrics just to show you what's happened to our funding. We achieved over 106 Trail Guardians. Trail Guardians, I'm sure all of you here today are or will be Trail Guardians. That's the highest level of donor that we have, and just one measure of the increased support that the PCTA has had. We have over 9,000 members. I checked this morning. We have at least one. I think there's one from Delaware and one from North Dakota. We have one. So I can say truly we have a member from every 50 states. We even have one member from the United Arab Emirates. So we do have an international membership. 5 years ago, that number was 5,000. So you're going to be hearing a lot of numbers today that have almost doubled in a 5-year period. Finally, volunteer hours, 136,000 hours. Hard to relate to that number. What does that mean? It was an increase of about 68% from the year before. Much of that was due to the stimulus funding. And Mike Dawson's number, I'm going to quote you, Mike, is that our goal is to have something on the order of, that's a nice loose way, 200,000 hours. That if we had 200,000 volunteer hours, we could maintain this trail to the standards that we would like. Turning to what I call financial highlights, and I wouldn't be a banker if I didn't cover a few of the financial highlights. We are a nonprofit organization, but if we were for-profit, you would say we had a profit of $70,000 last year, a surplus, if you will, of revenues over expenses of $70,000. What did we do with it? Well, we set aside $50,000 for our cash reserve, what many places, many states call a rainy day fund. And there are two reasons we have this operating reserve, as to coin a phrase, both for risks that are known and unknown. The known risk is we're a very seasonal organization. We tend to get our donations November and December, and we have our greatest expenditures in the summer. In fact, Liz and I used to wait for her phone call sometime around July that would say, you know, we're out of money. What are we going to do? And I'm pleased to say we probably won't have those phone calls anymore. That $50,000 brought our operating reserve to $125,000, which is terrific. I think it'll get us through the summer and any of the unknown risks that we might have, payables and receivables, etc. Our goal is about a $500,000 operating reserve. Why did we pick that number? Very arbitrary. We're saying we would like to have very roughly about 3 months of operating expense so that if anything unforeseen did happen, we would be covered during that period of time.